So in this video, let's see how to get started by creating these animals and giving them the attributes and behaviors as specified in the requirements, and also see if we can do some improvisations on this. In order to save time, I do have the code typed out. Now, before we start looking into the code, let's just run this and see whether we get the expected output. So I do have this here. So the cat's name is Tom. He's created, he's eating and climbing on the roof as per the requirement. The dog's name is Mike. He's created, he's eating and he's climbing on the steps as per the requirement again. And eventually I have the parrot, Glory. He's also created, eating, climbing on a tree, and he's also flying. So that's one behavior he has extra compared to the other animals. So now that we've got the expected output, let's start looking into the code. I'm using top level C hash statements. So basically I'm not using program main style. And if we go into the cat file, so basically all of this is in my console application called my application inside a solution called practical OOP. And all these files are there without, they're just at the root level. But I have just logically given them a namespace called myapplication.animals in order to group them better. And I do have a primary constructor, which the value of the name is being received and it is assigned to a property. And if you notice, I don't have the set clause here. That's because I don't want the name of the cat to be modified after it has been created. So if I have something like this, I can easily go and I can modify him to something I want, thereby violating the encapsulation. And moreover, there is no reason why I should be letting someone change the name once, given the fact that it's once created, it is fixed. So if the moment I remove this set here and save this, so I already have an error saying that this property cat.name cannot be assigned to its read only. So this is what we wanted to. This is not a hard and fast rule, but the programmer or the programmer decided that they would want to create immutable objects. And the only way to set the name is to pass it in the constructor. And once it is set, it cannot be changed. But it can always be accessed. So if you see here, if I just say cat dot, I do get a name. So accessing it is not a problem. And in fact, that is how I'm able to see the name of the cat from the code when I, ran the main application. And coming to the other methods, these are just normal methods where it is showing what the particular animal is doing. And this is the string interpolation operation. And I'm using primary constructor to keep the code brief. Whatever is passed in the constructor, I'm also initializing it to the property. So that's a neat way of doing in the latest version of C hash. So similarly, if I take a look at the dog, you'll find no difference whatsoever, except for the fact that the name is dog here. And there is a small difference in what he's doing here when climb is invoked. The cat is actually climbing on the roofs, whereas the dog is climbing on the steps. And if we take a look at the parrot, again, the same primary constructor, same assignment, same properties, or basically this is the state or attribute, whatever you would want to call, and a similar assignment and similar eat, in fact, the very same eat function. And the climb function is slightly different because he's supposed to climb on trees. And I do have this additional fly method, which is not present in the other two animals. And that is why we got that Glory is flying in the output screen. Now, if you notice, there are a lot of repetitions here. In fact, this function is exactly the same in all the three files, and the other function climb is almost the same, except this one function which is separate. So repetitions are not at all good in software applications. So we have a concept called, or a principle called DRY. Do not repeat yourself. Repetitions are dangerous because it's a maintenance headache. What if we had 30 classes instead of 3, and the requirement changed on how we were making the animals eat or climb? We'll have to hunt down all the 30 files and do the same changes diligently across all the files without missing any. And if we missed changing a few based on a change in requirement, some of the animals will be exhibiting the old requirement and some will be exhibiting the newer requirement. So this can create inconsistent application and become a huge burden for maintenance and enhancements of the application. We also see some amount of similarities and repetition even in the main program in invoking all these functions separately, given that they're doing the same thing. And you can imagine if there would be several objects. Now, even though the categories of animals are just 3, we can have hundreds and hundreds of objects of them. So it simply doesn't scale up to create separate objects like this and keep calling the functions on each and every object, because generally we would be retrieving the objects from a database or a service, and there could be hundreds, thousands, or even millions if required. So we need to find better ways of doing this. We will probably find that or we'll probably start finding better ways in the upcoming videos. So maybe first we will get rid of these repetitive codes, because that's currently a more important concern, because we know that we have inheritance in very handy feature of object-oriented programming, and this will be the first thing we will solve, and eventually we'll get down and see how we can solve this issue in the main program in the next few videos.